Good morning and welcome to the Haven Financial Group radio show. I'm Larry Colvig, founder and CEO of the Haven Financial Group. Thanks for listening. Feel free to give us a call this morning at 612-504-8400 or visit us online at havenfinancialgroup.com. Kim, good to be with you. Summer's just moving right along, and we got a lot to talk about today.
Yes, we do. And it sure is moving along. And I hope you're having a good summer, Larry, and all the folks who are listening. I certainly am enjoying mine.
Yeah, we are. We just had a great family vacation. My parents got to come up to northern Minnesota, Gull Lake, and the girls and friends, and just great family and friend time. It was exceptional.
I feel like that's so much of what summer is about, that carefree feeling that you might have responsibilities, but there's something about good weather and everybody gathering that just feels a little more carefree.
Yeah, and I haven't been up in northern Minnesota in quite a while, and it's just so serene and so beautiful, and all the trees. I tend to forget that northern Minnesota is like that, but great experience. So good that we booked it for next year.
Good for you. That's terrific.
Yeah.
Well, good. I know you'll look forward to that. Well, all of this conversation seems to just play right into what it is that we're going to talk about this morning. Do you love your summer in retirement? Now, that might sound like a silly question, but it really isn't, because as we've spoken so many times here on this show, Larry, retirement's a very different animal once you get into it and once you start to live it for a period of time.
It is. It is a transition. Everybody transitions a little bit differently. We hear the good experiences, the bad experiences. Just this last week, I had a couple that was in. He was newly retired, and I said, "How's retirement?" And he goes, "It sucks." I'm like, "Oh, okay." You got to find your way. You got to find your purpose. A lot of this stuff we're going to talk about on this show, it's much more than just money. However, it takes money to be able to do a lot of these things in the golden years. But, it's coming up. What are those hobbies? What are you going to spend your time doing? A lot of people have to find their way because This is uncharted territory.
Absolutely. And you've spent most of your life in those working years. So the idea of calming down and slowing down a bit can be very difficult for a lot of people. We want to remind everybody, Haven Financial Group is here to help you put together a great portfolio so that you have the money to do these carefree, wonderful experiences. And you can reach Haven Financial Group at 612-504-8400. So during the course of this show, anything that we say that might ring a bell for you, be sure you pick up the phone and give them a call. Larry, you guys aren't just about the money, though. You're about the experience and the happiness.
We are. The experience is the big thing. Yes, we're talking all these retirement topics, and wealth management is part of it, but it's also the Medicare and the healthcare and the estate planning, all these retirement puzzle pieces, as we talk about weekly, putting it all together, keeping things as simple as possible, because some of this stuff can be very complicated. Our job description is really to answer questions and help people transition into these retirement years. I mean, we're not limited to the scope of just retirees, but we're speaking to all those that plan on retiring someday, whether you're young or old, listening today. It's applicable because before you know it, what's the old saying? Time flies. And next thing you know, you might be talking retirement.
Most definitely. Let's take a look as we approach this show. Inflation today and retirement lifestyle affordability. We're going to talk about that. Then we'll talk about retirement happiness. It comes from habits that you make. You may not know that. Find new ways to feel achievement. That's a real challenge, I think, for people in retirement, don't you? Just finding those ways to feel like you are needed and that you're doing something that maybe is worthwhile and not just for yourself. And then finally, lifestyle pitfalls to avoid while you're in retirement. So, Larry, let's get started with the idea of inflation and retirement. Folks who are retired this summer, and maybe this is their first summer to be in retirement, they are certainly having an experience that might be different from some who retired maybe 10 years ago. Inflation is a part of life today.
Spending power of that dollar has changed greatly, and it could maybe creating some financial stress points in your life, because the things that you were able to purchase, maybe not able to purchase as much of. And yeah, there's certainly the pocketbooks have been affected, and there's specific things that inflation affects. What just came out with the newest one, that it went up in June to 2.7%, so slight uptick.
Mm-hmm.
But the prices haven't come down,
Right.
Inflation may have come down, but the prices still remain high. So there's certain a lot of things you got to account for, which we're very big in making sure that retirees have a budget, that we have some sort of trackability, that you can look at. Where am I spending the money? Is it wasteful, or what are the things that we need to um, plan on in retirement? Because most retirees, not all, are on a fixed income. So
Hmm.
figuring out where those income streams are, and where's the money going, all very, very important things.
Absolutely. Well, some of the things I'm sure that you guys take a look at, number one is healthcare costs, because they do fluctuate and they are a very big part of a retiree's budget.
Healthcare is always seeming to be underestimated.
Yeah.
People seem to always underestimate it. The inflationary rate with medical is a lot higher than regular inflation.
Mm,
Again, you got to account for these medical expenses a little bit differently than your actual other budget items. So, healthcare, whether it's Medicare, bridging the gap for healthcare, and that Medicare is not long term care. So, what about long term care when eventually we get there? So, I think the statistics show that 70% of us are going to go into some sort of nursing home at some stage, and most people haven't looked at how are they going to fund that part of their life.
sure.
And the joke is my kids will take care of us, and the joke is they probably aren't going to take care of you. So
The joke may be
um,
on you, right?
it certainly might be, and that I think in the Twin Cities, $12,000 to $15,000 a month for a nursing home,
Mm,
that can erode things and decimate your entire life of what you worked hard for. So if you haven't looked at that, come in and visit with Glenn. We have access to all the companies, and I think more people should. And some of the rules and laws across the United States, we don't want to be a burden to our kids, but
mhm.
in some states, the kids are going to be responsible if mom and dad go into a home. And some of these rules have changed drastically.
Wow.
And I think a lot of people need to open their eyes to it, and at least have a conversation. That's where it would start.
Yeah, that's the kind of thing that nobody wants to do to their kids, put them in the bind when it's all said and done and be a burden for them. So, healthcare costs is one of the things during these inflationary times that you might want to consider. We talked about this before. Obviously, the cost of food and energy and housing, we're not really seeing that change all that much, Larry. And that's something people obviously need.
The essentials, food and utilities, gas, electricity, they have not come down. In fact, they only seem to go one direction,
Mhm.
for sure. So again, that might have put a wrench in your budget. More money is going to that. Housing costs are still expensive. I see a lot of folks that come in, they're kind of house locked. They're maybe paid off their mortgage, or it's a very low balance and their interest rate's really good. They want to go to one level living. And I've seen it again, house locked,
Yeah,
not
sure.
able to do something at this stage. So,
Sure.
the inflationary numbers, I think we're looking at it, some of these money markets, high yield savings accounts. I think you're probably going to see those rates come down a little bit. It's kind of been nice the last 2.5 years to get 4, 5, 5.5% on some of those. Not sure that's going to be around. Not sure it's going to go back to where it was, which is
Mhm.
like you could barely make pennies. But all of this has to do with money and retirement, but the fixed income piece, that's why it's so important to get a good grasp on where's the money going to come from. Is it from a pension if you're fortunate? Social Security, we do a lot of classes there. What's the right timing to turn that Social Security for you? And if you're a married couple, a we decision, not just a me decision. These are all the things that we take people through when we take them through the Haven proprietary process.
Mhm.
Looking at all these things, asking a lot of questions, because yeah, you have the essentials of the things you need, but you're going to want a lifestyle in retirement as too. So what are those hobbies? We always budget for, a lot of our clients like to travel. Well, that takes money. So we buffer it into our projections. I'd rather over project rather than under project.
Sure.
That doesn't do any good.
Absolutely. Right. So as Larry has said, if we've talked about a few of the things that you have some concerns about related to your retirement and inflation, and you'd like to get some answers or maybe navigate some of these areas a little more smoothly, then give the folks at Haven Financial Group a call. Their number is 612-504-8400. Again, that's 612-504-8400. Tell them you heard us here on the radio and you'd like to make an appointment and come in and see some of their experts. When we come back, we continue this conversation about being happy this summer in your retirement. We're going to discuss some happy habits that you need to make sure that you're getting the most out of the golden years. This is the Haven Financial Group Radio Show.